Hey, good day, folks. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. I welcome you to the only town of its type, name wise, anyways, in the entire United States of America. Welcome to Swayzee, Indiana. Now, Swayzee, Indiana is located in Grant County. It is located in the towards the eastern central part of Indiana. And it is as far as larger communities that are located close by, like within an hour for the most part. I mean, 16 and a half miles to the south, you got Elwood, and 17 and a half miles to the west, you got Kokomo, and a little over an hour south, you have Indianapolis, which is going to be your closest metro area to Swayzee. And of course, you do have a lot of other smaller cities that are not too far away from Swayzee as well, that are within an hour of this general area. Now, the population is currently sitting at 918 people, down from 981 people back in the 2010 census. So this town has lost 6.4% of its population as of the 2020 census. And the last time this town has had a positive population growth was back in 1980, back during the 1980 census. And of course, back then, the population was at 1,127 people. Now, although this town has never been big, it's always been a small town living here. The population peak was at 1,162 people back during the census of 1900, when they began to record the census of this town. Now, I did do a little bit of research on the history of this town, and just spare you guys of all the details that are probably not going to be significant to most of you, because as some of you may realize, and if you don't, I'll tell you right now, other than the fact that I enjoy driving around smaller communities such as this one, I also understand there's people out here that are like myself. You don't want to live in a larger city. You don't even want to live in the suburbs, partially because you can't afford them. You're looking for a small town, small city even, a nice, quiet, low-key neighborhood where your cost of living is not going to be insane. And I understand there's a fair amount of you that are like that, and that's what you're looking for. And that's one of the main reasons why I started this channel a couple of years ago. So when it comes to the history, so to speak, of these communities, I mean, some of the history that's out there, I'm not saying that it's not important. I'm just saying that when it comes to making a sound decision on whether or rather not you're going to move somewhere, some of that history is really not all that significant. Like, I would say what happened during the 16, 17, and 1800s. I mean, yeah, some of that could be significant for today, but I find that much of it isn't. And So yeah, I mean, so yeah. So with that being said, I did do a little bit of research as I typically do for these videos, and I'm gonna try to, and I'm gonna tell you what went on here in the past in a nutshell. I'm gonna try to be as accurate as possible. Basically, in a nutshell, as I said a second ago, the population peaked at 1,162 people during the 1900 census. Now, this town, I guess you can say that this town in its heydays, it used to have more businesses. Now, there was a major fire, I want to say in the late 1800s, that swept through this town, and it destroyed a bunch of buildings and a bunch of residential structures as well, but mainly a bunch of businesses. And when that fire occurred, rather than those businesses rebuilding here in Swayzee, they decided to relocate their businesses to larger neighboring communities that are not too far away from here, such as Marion, Kokomo, Elwood, places like those. So Swayzee, for as long as most of us can remember, has always been small town / rural American living. So yeah, let's keep on going here. So basically, if you want to live here in Swayzee, the cost of living here is, the median rent prices are going from $580 to $1230 a month. Your median home price is at $137,000. However, the cheapest house is currently for sale is sitting at about $190,000, which, and on top of that, there's not a whole lot of houses that are for sale here. There's only like 3 houses for sale. And your racial demographics are going to be 95% white, 1.5% black, and 2.3% Native American. And the people in this community appear to be fairly nice. I mean, I stopped off at one of the local gas stations and I spoke to this woman that was working the front register. I've asked her a couple of questions about this town. Now, as you guys will see later on this video, I took a couple of pictures. Now, one of the pictures I took was a picture of an old restaurant that was, at some point, it caught on fire. I think it was either a fire or, yeah, I think that restaurant caught on fire. I think that's what it was, if I can remember clearly. And then I took another picture. And this is a site that you can see right downtown if you were to drive over to Swayzee. It's basically a picture of a building that I forgot what that building used to be, but right below it used to be the post office, and due to that damage, they had to close down the post office there, and people who live there now are having to go to Marion, I believe, to go pick up their mail. And I forgot what the woman told me the top of the place used to be. I forgot. But I do got that picture on this video. And plus you're going to see it during my drive around. So somebody who's familiar with this area, maybe you can drop a comment in the comment section and let us all know what that place used to be. I forgot. My apologies. But anyhow, I've asked her about that. like, I mean, I'm thinking, okay, what happened here? I mean, was there like a real bad tornado that happened in the area, or what went on? So I went to this gas station and I asked this woman if this area had like a real bad tornado. And I would think if they did have a real bad tornado, I most likely would have known about it. But what happened was it wasn't the fact that they had a bad tornado, at least not recently. It was the fact that that building has basically been left abandoned. And apparently the owner of that building is, I think there's like a dispute. I mean, I think that building is like family owned or something of that sort. And there's like a dispute within that particular family of what they're going to do to that building, who's going to pay for what, that type of stuff. And so while all that madness is going on, the building is just sitting there deteriorating more and more. And that's, in a nutshell, that's basically what I understand is going on with that building. Now, quite frankly, I'm very surprised that the town hasn't tore it down, or they haven't done something with that building, and then went after the owners and gave them a little fine. I mean, I'm very surprised. I really am, because you look at the site of that building, it is super obvious. It is super obvious. I mean, you'll see what I'm talking about later in this video. You'll see. But, anyhow, I've asked her about the crime in the area. I mean, even though it's Indiana, and most small towns here in Indiana have a fairly low crime rate, I thought since I was talking to someone that actually works there on a day-to-day basis, I would ask her about the crime. And she, basically for the most part, crime is low. It's quiet. It's low-key. I mean, from what she told me, what you guys are looking at right now on this video is basically what you're going to experience on a day-to-day basis if you choose to move out here. This nice, small, quiet, rural, small town living. I mean, if you're looking for bigger and better amenities, I mean, you can go to one of the smaller cities that are close by, which I've named off earlier when I first began the video. If that's not enough for you, then, Indianapolis is not super far away. And, you can also go visit Fort Wayne. Now, Fort Wayne is going to be a little further from here than Indy, but if you don't want to necessarily deal with some of the riffraff of Indianapolis, then you can always go to Fort Wayne, where you still got a fair amount of things to do, but you're not going to have to deal with the riffraff. You're not going to have to deal with all the road construction, at least not as much of it, and you're not going to have to deal with near that amount of traffic either. So for those of you that are looking for small town living, here you go. Swayzee, Indiana. And hopefully you guys feel very special living here, because there is no other town or city in this entire country, in this entire world, that has this name. So I guess you can feel special for living in a community like this that has a very unique name. And I don't really have much else to say about this town. I mean, I don't have anything bad to say. The people I spoke to, they seem to like it. The people here appear to be fairly nice. I mean, I don't know if you guys caught it a second ago, but I just drove by the building that I was talking about. But I will turn around and you guys will see it again. Like I said, I also have pictures on this video of the building, so you will see very shortly of what I'm talking about. All right, folks. that's all for the commentary. Hopefully you guys got something out of it. Feel free to chime in the comment section. So until next time, stay blessed.